Hi everyone, Sat here, helping you go from daydreaming about development to being a daydream developer, or in this case, an ARCore developer. So you can see we've got movement going on for the cat here. Wherever you tap, the cat will move to that position. We'll be doing animation in the next tutorial, but before we show you how to do this tutorial, let me quickly just say thanks to the people that have been supporting the channel. I really appreciate everyone who's been for the likes and the comments and this, and for everyone who's been subscribing as well. Make sure you hit the notification bell there at the bottom so you can actually get notified when I release videos. And also thanks for people who've been downloading the beta and letting me know what they think as well. I really appreciate that. That's awesome to hear. Alright, so let's get on with the video. In the last tutorial, we managed to have the cat on the ground with some animation. And now we want to turn things up a little bit. We want the cat to be moving around the surface. So to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to change the code so that wherever you tap, the cat will move to that position. So to do that, there's a few things we need. We need to know when the player has tapped, where they've tapped, and then we need to know stuff like the direction the cat is moving in, the time we want to move in, how much time, how much speed. It's quite complicated, to be honest with you. Luckily for you, I'm a genius, so I've worked this all out. No, actually, I'm not. I wish I could say I was, but I'm not. What I actually did was I just Googled it. Right? I Googled vector3.lerp. And I think I actually Googled, in particular, it was something like moving one object from one place to another game object in Unity. That was it. And the Unity documentation came up, and it gave us some free code, which we can use. So you're going to see this very, very soon. In fact, you're going to see it right now, because we need that code on the cat prefab. So if we go to our prefabs, which is not there, our cat prefab here, and let's bring him out here, and then let's add component, and let's change it to cat move, and then cat move to, and then hit enter, and then create and add, and that should create the script to our cat. Now if we double click it, we can start to play around with it. So like I said, I'm just going to copy and paste this in here. Not all of it though, because we don't want this name. We want just this. Copy that and move this away now. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. So let's paste this. Great. So let's have a quick look at what this does. So it looks like as soon as this script starts up, it finds out what time it is, gets the time, it looks at the journey length, so how far it's moving, and it does that by taking two positions that are taken from two transforms. So a transform could have been, for example, the cat transform, which is the start marker, and the end marker could be where we have tapped. So it would start from the cat and it would move to the end marker. So first it works out the distance, the journey length of that, which is using this vector3.distance. And then in update, it's constantly moving the transform of the cat, the position of it, and it's lerping it. So it's moving it a little bit by a little bit, and that is based off of some lovely maps here, stuff like the time, the start place, and the speed as well that we want to go at. So this is really helpful for us. Now we don't want the cat to move immediately. We want the cat to move when we've tapped. So let's change this code a little bit for us, because it's not quite right. We wanna add a few things here. What we really want is like a different function like that we're going to call. So we don't actually want this to happen in the start function. This is some good code though. So what I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna create a new function called public void start move, and this is going to take a transform which is going to be based off of let me think for a second. It's going to be based off of this. We want so we want to find out the journey length, and then we're going to update the update code based off of that. So to do the journey length, we need two things. Now we have the start marker, where we can immediately get the start position by just saying start marker dot start marker is equal to this dot transform. Right, so that's actually this sorted out now. That's that done. And then we actually need an end marker. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to transform end pos. Right, bear with me, I know this is a little messy. But transform end pos, so we're going to send it the transform from hello AR controller, and you'll see that in a second. So when the person taps, which is going to happen here, we'll work on that in a second. When the person taps, we're going to send that information to this cat, and we know we need a start position and an end position. We have the start marker, which is always going to be where the cat is currently, but we need the end one. So the end one gets sent over here through this end position. Then we just need to set end marker is equal to end pos. Now that should be really good. And we've got the start timer, and then we have a journey. That works out quite well. I'm happy with that for now. And then we can have a debug.log just for our own, just for testing if we need it. Spell that wrong, but it doesn't really matter. Journey length is, and then I'm going to put in journey length here. So that should print out the journey length. So that's really useful. The only issue is the update method is constantly running every second, and that's not really helpful. Also, the journey length, I've just realized now, is not set. So we should actually set that here. So journey length is equal to 0 at the moment, because at the start we don't want it to move. Right? And so what we can do is, now that we know that journey length is 0, we can do if journey length is more than 0, then we want to move. Right? So what we're going to do is the user clicks somewhere, we get that information through start move, we get the position, the end position, the end transform where they clicked. Then we say, let's get the cat's current position now, and let's set the end position that we want to move, the end marker to be the end position that we've just come through. We get the start time based off of this time that we want to start the movement in. We work out the journey length based off of the start position and the end position that we want to go to. And then if that is more than 0, so I mean they could have tapped, I mean it's very difficult to do, but they could have tapped on the exact position of the cat, close to impossible, but let's say if they did, then nothing would happen. But if the journey was more than 0, so they click a little bit far away, then what happens is we get this update method kicks in, and it does some lovely maths for us, and it starts to move the cat, which is the transform position. The only thing is the speed is set to 1 here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change it to private, because since we're working ARCore, if I left this as a public, we would constantly have to update. If I left this as public, we would constantly have to change the data here instead of here, and that's really useful when we can run with the Unity emulator, but since we can't do that, that's not great. So I'm going to change this also to 0.0. If we do 0.01, let's do that, because I think 1 is going to be too fast. I'm pretty sure it will be. Okay, so we've got this code working lovely. Let's go to hello AR controller. So what we want to do is we want to get the cat object, right? And we know we've got this cat move. Let's wait for this to refresh. Here we go. We've got the start marker and the end marker here. Alright, so what we want to do is we know we have this prefab has a cat move to script on it. In fact, to make sure our prefab has this, we have to hit apply. Hit apply. Now I can actually delete this. If we look down here, our cat prefab has cat move. So it's an easy step to forget, but we have to make sure we update that. We could have added that directly to the prefab as well. Actually, that might have been a better way of doing it, but there we go. Now we know it's definitely there anyway. Okay, so let's look at this first. So let's look at what we already have. We already have information about tapping on the screen if the number of cats allowed is more than the current number of cats. So if, on the other hand, we're only allowing 1 cat and we've got 1 cat, then we want the person to be able to tap and for the cat to move. Otherwise, there's no cat to move. So what we want to do here is we're going to put else statement. Right, that's actually pretty simple, right, in regards to that and the logic behind that. Here we don't have a cat, so we want to create a cat. If we've got a cat, then we want to move it. Only then do we want to move it. So we need a reference to the cat. So here's the cat. The cat gets created here, but the cat is a variable. And I think actually that is only local. Yeah, it's only local to this. The scope. Hopefully you know a little bit about this local scope. But this actually means that this variable of the cat object is just here. It just exists here, and after that we can't reference it. So we need to change that really quickly. So what we can do is delete this var, and all these goes red, which is good because they should go red because there is no. We haven't actually created this and set this yet. So let's go back up, and we're going to create a game object here called public game object and paste that in cat object. So now we have cat object that we can refer to outside of this chunk of code, which is really useful. So we have cat object equals instantiate blah blah blah. That looks good. Okay, so now here we're going to do we know the cat has been made, so we want to go to cat object dot get component and we want to do cat move to, because that's the script, and then we want to kick in the cat moves. We're going to call that function, which is, or method, which is start move, right? And then we want to put in the position that the person tapped, and we can get the position of where the person tapped by looking at the hit point. So the hit point's here, and actually it looks like the hit is a dot point. And I think this is a transform, so we need to change this now from a transform to a thing. So let's do something here. So first we send in the hit. Let's not change any of this. Let's not complicate this one. Let's do hit dot point. right? So that's the vector free hit point. So we're going to send this hit point in, and send this hit point over, which is a vector free. And actually, if we look at this, it doesn't really, it says it needs a transform, but it doesn't really need a transform. So we're going to change this to a vector free. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, you can see here, now that I changed to vector free, this is gone red because it's basically saying a vector free dot position. There is no further position. We can just delete this because it already is position technically. So now we get the end position sent in here. We set it to end marker, and then everything else is fine. We can leave this start marker as dot position. It should be that. We could have actually changed that as well to vector free and then just done dot position, but it's fine. We would have had to do it anyway. So this is all good. I'm going to run this now. I'm going to also put in a debug statement here just to make sure this goes in. In case it doesn't, we can check it. Let's do cat move start, and then let's put in the hit point. Okay, let's see if this works now. I'm going to go to File and develop. Let me save this. Can't forget to do that. Okay, let's go to File, Build and Run. It should send that over to my phone now, and then I'll let you know how that goes. Oh, did I get an error? Don't think I did, but let's see. Maybe I did. Looks like I got an error. Okay, good. So we got an error. That's okay. Let's sort this out now. So end marker is equal to vector free. Okay. So I didn't change this. So let's change this together. So this needs to change. So I'm sending in a vector free, and what we had is being set as a vector free as well. So that's fine. It's an easy mistake. One mistake. Let's see, or maybe we've got more. Let's see what happens. Okay, that looks like it's okay now. So let's try File, Build and Run. Alright, so we're making the floor here, and let's tap once, should make the cat, and if we tap again it should move it. Let's see. There we go, we've got some movement going on. Wherever I tap, the cat moves, which is pretty damn cool. Now obviously it's not great, it's not perfect, because we want the cat to be turning and we want the animation to change too. But let's tackle that in the next video. I think this is a decent amount to do now, and we can move forwards in the next video.